Hello and welcome. You are watching UATV News with me, Ksenia Bugay. First, this hour, the latest developments from Ukraine. For the first time over the past couple of months, Ukraine has confirmed a slight decrease in the number of coronavirus cases. Weekly rate. Ukrainian Health Minister Maxim Stepanov announced the conclusion coming out of the comparison of two latest illness weekly rates over the past 24 hours. Ukraine confirmed 10,811 new cases, the highest rating of cases reported in the capital, Odessa, Zaporizhia and Poltava regions. More on the coronavirus situation across Ukrainian regions and the following report.
A slowdown in COVID-19 infection rate. The weekly number for coronavirus illnesses dropped 7,500 compared to the previous week. According to the health minister, Ukraine reports such a dynamic first time since August. The achievement is a result of the weekend quarantine.
First of all, this resulted from the proper observation of the anti-epidemic measures. Those ones have been introduced by the government. This is yet more proof that the weekend quarantine, whatever one may say of it, worked out. We achieved a decrease in growth rates, meaning that we managed to slow down the hurricane surge and spread of the coronavirus disease. We even made to reach positive trend for the new illness cases, meaning that the number of new cases over the past week is lower than over the previous one.
Kyiv, however, remains the anti-leader concerning the number of new cases. Ukraine's capital confirmed 1,475 new patients. 23 people died. Medical wards are half empty, but the number of the infected remains high, pushing the city to continue increasing the number of oxygen-supplied beds in hospitals.
The capital authorities have set 300 beds over the week, making a total of 4,800 beds. 2,117 of them could provide oxygen supply, including 1,123 with centralized supply.
443 patients confirmed in the Donetsk region over the past day. 5 people died due to complications. The city state health department states that the key hospitals are 40% full. The total number of patients since the onspring of the pandemic in the Donetsk region is approaching 26,000.
At present, 1,502 people have been taken to hospitals designated for the hospitalization of patients with COVID. Among them, 735 have a confirmed infection status.
38 people are now being treated in the Slovyansk City Central District Clinic. 12 beds are in reserve. Doctors add that they have enough oxygen concentrators as well.
Concerning the drugs, as of now, after we received funds from the National Healthcare Agency, we are 100% supplied with drugs. Our stocks will be enough until the end of January, and I think, thanks to the funds allocated for the COVID package, we will further replenish it.
36 hospitals in the Dnipropetrovsk region are ready to receive patients with COVID-19. Almost 5,000 places have been prepared. 3,000 of them are expected to provide oxygen. Not only state, but also private and departmental hospitals and even resorts were engaged. As of now, 5 regional hospitals have been redesigned to treat infected with coronavirus.
All these hospitals completely discharge patients, and the hospital starts taking patients with COVID only.
Meanwhile, the Kherson region confirmed 333 cases per day. In a week, up to 600 beds are planned to be set in city hospitals, the regional state administration stated. Kherson counts for more than half of the regional COVID tally.
The incidence rate in the region is 338 cases per 100,000 population, while Kherson city itself has 565 per 100,000 population.
Despite the decrease in the number of confirmed cases, Ukrainians still face tightening of the quarantine measures. The government hints at its plans to introduce the national lockdown in January, while the detailed list of restrictions is expected to be announced in the coming days. Reported by Nick Starkov, Valery Bakus, Nadia Sukhorukova, Natalia Huzak, Yanina Lebedeva, UATV News.
Kyiv has lost about $1 billion due to the almost complete stop of the tourism industry during the pandemic. This was reported by Kyiv City State Administration. Due to the lockdown and subsequent quarantine restrictions, tour operators, hotels and restaurants suffered losses. The city government presented a strategy for the restoration of the tourism sector. Next year, they expect to host at least a third of the travelers compared to 2019. Therefore, they decided to launch new tourism projects. We managed to implement a certain range of measures to attract more foreign tourists. According to statistics, this year Kyiv was visited by 300,000 tourists, while in 2019 by 2 million people. We have done the reformatting of the tourist information centers. In Kyiv International Airport, we have also installed a tourist arrival terminal to avoid direct contacts. Up next, Ecological Action, Feed the Birds in Winter, is launched in Ukraine. It is bound to the Global Climate Action Day. Its objective is to save as many lives of the birds starving in winter as possible. Our correspondents have joined the activists' work.
Volunteers have crafted several thousand bird feeders. It's now easier for the birds to find food, and they're more likely to survive the winter.
Now we are going to attach a couple of these on the millions tree planted within the Green in Ukraine project. This is how we try to draw public attention and send feeders out all over Ukraine for others to install 15,000 more on the trees. This is for the sake of the birds' lives, for them as doctors, to contribute to the trees we planted.
Birds kill insect pests that destroy trees. But without the human help, it's hard for them to survive winter, activists say.
Birds eat thousands of tons of insects that infest and harm trees. Data states that 70 or 80% of birds do not survive before spring due to the lack of food.
The more birds one manages to save, the more trees will survive, the supporter of the action, third president of Ukraine, Viktor Yushchenko, says.
Those who have not yet planted a tree, do it please, there is still time. Fortunately, seedlings are now sold in pots. These are the hard times for birds, so you also can join this action, which we launched today.
The Feed the Birds in Winter action is part of the all-Ukrainian Greening Ukraine initiative. Volunteers planted more than 2 million trees a year within it.
During the fall, we attracted 50,000 people all over Ukraine. They were different people, from kids to ministers. They planted more than 2 million seedlings. There is an idea to repeat the action every year.
This is a part of the international greening campaign. Ukraine has joined it this year. Activists expect that 100 countries will take part in it in 2021. The volunteers seek next year to plant 1 million trees in one day by combined efforts. Reported by Nick Starkov, Artem Holub, Alexander Bugay, UATV News.
A laser classroom was opened at the Kharkiv National University of Civil Engineering and Architecture. It is equipped with a multimedia system. It has no analogs in other local universities. Now it will be possible to conduct online lectures and seminars for students during distance learning. Our correspondent has more details.
You press the button and it's all open. The new auditorium is equipped with a unique multimedia system. 220 students can be simultaneously connected to the online mode. Before that, during the spring quarantine, only 35 people could take part in the distance learning. In addition, the new equipment will allow future designers and architects to communicate online with students abroad. This is the first experience of a kind in this educational establishment.
I like that we can communicate with representatives of other countries. We broaden our horizons. We can communicate with students from different countries, find out what they study during classes, learn something new, and share our own experience. I think this is useful.
The laser auditorium is equipped with the latest conference systems, video cameras, and modern projectors.
Here we have 3 LCD projectors. 2 of them are installed here. It generates a laser image onto a 6-meter screen, hence we can get a high-quality picture.
The university purchased technical equipment for a unique laser auditorium in Europe and China. The funds were provided by one of the local construction companies. The organization is interested in future professionals, as they are sorely lacking now. They promise to provide graduates with jobs.
If a student is engaged in online mode and a teacher works this way as well, naturally, only such audiences will be able to professionally ensure the learning process.
In January, the first English lecture will be held for students in the new auditorium. It will be given by experts from the University of Cambridge. Reported by Vadim Kramer and Natalia Bilokudria, UATV News.
Ukrainians all over the world have marked the traditional Headscarf Day. More than 2 million Ukrainian women in 20 countries put on a headscarf and posted their photos on social networks. The event was registered in the Ukrainian Book of Records. Our correspondent will tell you more. This is how we do it in the southern districts of Vinnytsia region.
It was in Vinnytsia that the World Day of the Ukrainian Headscarf was initiated. The holiday appeared last year on December the 7th. Then it was celebrated by more than 1 million Ukrainian women in different countries of the world.
In 2019, more than 1 million women participated in the event. This year, more than 20 countries took part. More than 10 new countries joined as well. Among them are Georgia, Greece, Bulgaria, Azerbaijan, Kenya, Canada, United States and United Kingdom.
This year they decided to organize a flash mob. More than 2 million women in 20 countries put on the headscarves, took pictures and posted the pictures on social networks. The flash mob was registered in the Ukrainian Book of Records.
The largest number of women wore a Ukrainian headscarf over a day, and the scale of this flash mob is impressive because women united by this record live not only in Ukraine. When we talk about what this record means for us, it is first of all popularization of Ukraine in the world, popularization of national traditions in the world.
Many participants of the flash mob wore unique headscarves. Anastasia was one of the models. She embroidered her hood herself.
I made this hood myself. The original is presented in our local lore museum. You can go there and see, and I've made a replica.
Svitlana has the smallest headscarf. She found it in her grandmother's storage chest.
We think it is the smallest in Ukraine. So far, the smallest has not been made. It is not a cut handkerchief. It is really small headscarf. Previously, small children were also wrapped up in them.
Since ancient times, the Ukrainian headscarf was inherited and was considered a talisman for the one who wears it. However, it was France which introduced the trend in Ukraine.
The modern-style headscarf appeared in Ukraine approximately in the 18th century. Then the French fashion was in trend. For example, at the beginning of the 19th century, Josephine, the wife of Napoleon Bonaparte, introduced the so-called cashmere scarves.
Residents of Vinnytsia organized the holiday after a visit to local Muslim women on the International Day of Hijab. And now they hope that the Ukrainian headscarf will unite women of Ukrainian origin all over the world. Reported by Vadim Kramer and Arina Kantonistova, UATV News.
That was our final story this hour. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. More updates on our official website, YouTube, Facebook and Twitter pages.